All right, well, we're back for episode 2. What's up, brother?
Hey, not much, man.
So today it's the who are you? Are you an investor or landlord, right?
Yep.
All right, now, to me, an investor and a landlord are essentially the same thing. So I'm gonna learn a few things today. Episode 1. What did we talk about in episode 1? I think it was a bunch of gibberish.
No, it was useful information. It was kind of the foundation, the beginning of the whole 12 episodes that we're doing. What are you doing? Why are you getting into it? That kind of stuff. So you really got to go back and see that one because each one builds on itself.
Okay.
But you can jump in wherever you want because it's all good.
Point. That's what the whole point of this thing is. All right, so the difference. So right now we're going to talk about the difference between a landlord and a real estate investor. What is it? What is the difference?
It's simple and not simple. A lot of it has to do with what you choose to do, what's acceptable to you, what your mindset is. Landlords proactively manage their property. They're involved with it. They don't have a management company and a buffer. They use the systems I show them. They set it up. So it's not tenants and toilets headaches, but you're involved in the day-to-day process.
Now, does it matter what size property this is? Should they, if they're buying a duplex or a fourplex or a condo, or should they do this on their own, or should they have a property management company handle this thing?
That we can get into in another episode because that's all in personality traits. What your personality is like. What do you do? Are you involved in things? Do you kind of micromanage your life and everything else, or are you the sit back? I want mailbox money. Excuse me. So that's two different things.
What's funny is you. I'm now using the term mailbox money. I used to just call it residual income, but no, I like mailbox money. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I've used residual income with my investor clients. They get it. They go, "Oh, what's my ROI?" And the first time I heard that, I think I was 22 years old, and I was sitting there going, well, let me get back to you when I can crunch some numbers.
That was, about 15 years ago, right?
Yeah, that was more than 15 decades ago, yeah.
So tell me, what is the difference between a landlord and a real estate investor? What is this?
Real estate investors typically acquire an asset, not a liability, an asset, something that generates income, pays for itself.
Okay.
That's how I classify an asset.
That's how I classify an asset.
That's the first thing.
We're the Robert Kiyosaki age.
Yeah. That's pretty much how anybody smart does it. Robert's just the one that said, oh, I'm going to go share that with everybody.
Correct.
No, because a bunch of people knew it and they weren't sharing it.
You're correct. So explain to me, if somebody is thinking about buying a property, tell me.
Okay, so you acquire a property, you buy it, inherit it, however you acquire it.
Okay.
You're a landlord. When you're screening tenants, you're involved in the day-to-day operations. You're working the property. The tenant calls, and use the structure I give you in the systems that I show you. So they're not calling you at 2 a.m. telling you the toilet plugged up.
Correct.
But you're involved. You know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. An investor has a manager as a buffer. So they give up a bunch of control and responsibility to somebody else and collect some money. And in exchange for giving up that control and responsibility to somebody else, they also give up some of the income.
And if I were to, actually I'm thinking about doing it. We're thinking about buying a duplex and putting my wife's folks on one side and my mother on the other side. And
hire a manager.
Yeah, just have them handle it.
Yeah, well, the reason I instantaneously say that is that's one of the other things I talk about in the book. If you're going to rent to relatives, I say never do it. I understand family dynamics. Sometimes you got to do it. The choices between renting to relatives and finding a divorce attorney are it's kind of a no.
Well, it's not even that. It's mom and dad are getting older. They need help. My mom's mental capabilities are becoming an issue, and
I understand.
She can't do it on her own, and mom and dad can't do it on their own, and they need a little bit of help.
Yeah, and I think it's genius putting those two people together under one roof, but yet in their own living environment.
Correct.
Because they'll learn to support one another.
Correct.
And they'll be an asset to you.
Yeah. And
But
it's also family, you know.
Yeah.
My mother, she's in Wyoming, so we're going to be bringing her back to California, and she needs to get out of those elements.
Yeah.
And then the other end of it, though, is the way I look at it. Okay, so we worked out all the numbers. It's going to be like $1,700 a month or whatever to mortgage this thing. And I split the rent down the middle, $850 to one, $850 to the other. Done.
Yep.
And they make the mortgage payment. And
it's a fixed cost for them. There's no landlord raising the rent. There's nobody ignoring what needs to get done.
it's not, there's not that phone call where we're thinking
Yeah.
about selling the house.
Yeah.
Because they're renting right now, and that's one of the issues that they're running into is in a year's time, he's thinking about selling the house, and here they are, in their 60s, 70s, going, okay, we got to up and root up again and move again.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, folks, at 60, 70 years old, to try to rent in the market in the U.S. today, it's going to be a little tough. You're on a fixed income. Landlords are kind of like, I don't know.
And the rents, especially out here. I mean, we're in Sacramento, California. The rents are expensive. I mean, it's just getting more and more expensive here. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's 150 miles to the ocean and 150 miles to 5 times the rental amount. It's heading this direction.
Correct.
But back to being your landlord as opposed to being the investor, and why with family you really want a management company and you want to pick and screen a manager that's going to do what you want them to do, not manage it the way they manage everything else. In your scenario, it's your parents and what your in-laws, you said, you really don't need a management company because they're going to come to you anyway.
Okay.
So for you, don't pay somebody that 3 to 10% of what you collect. Because basically, and management companies are going to hate me for doing this, but after 40 years, I kind of don't care if I go back to work with one or not. Basically, most of them in the small single-family duplex kind of scenarios, they get your money before you do. They hang on to it for 21 days to make sure the check don't bounce, and then they give it to you. So you got paid 3 weeks ago. Why don't you just do it yourself?
Yeah. Now, the other question, though, is if something breaks, is that management company going to handle, are they going to take care of those things? Or are they going to, or am I going to be taking care of fixing those things?
Well, that's the funny thing about it. Depending on the cap you put with the management company on how much money they can spend. You got a small cap where you tell them, you guys can only spend $150 because intuitive, you're like, I don't want these guys going back crap crazy and spending $300-400 a month every month on whatever that I would not agree to. They're going to be calling you and playing Mother May I. Well, the plumber came out and it's going to be $168 and we can only spend $150, so we need your permission. So you're getting the doggone phone call anyway.
Yeah.
You're paying somebody to get the phone call for you. Whereas with my system, the things that I tell you to set up, that call can come in at 2 o'clock in the morning and your phone won't ring. But you'll be able to look at a text message and go, that's not an emergency. Good night.
Okay.
And the leases, the clauses and stuff, I show people to put in the leases.
And this is all available through cashcowsystems.org.
Big time. Bunch of it's available and just the videos and stuff that we're kind of putting up.
Wow. Okay. Okay, great. All right. Well, Brad, we're going to go to a break. We're going to come back and learn a little bit more. We'll be right back.
All right. Thanks.